when alt season? I think it's an important question by virtue of the fact that the majority of my community, my audience, are overexposed to alts and underexposed to BTC. Source: me. I am overexposed to alts and underexposed to BTC. One of the scenarios that I've been looking at, something that I think is high likelihood of playing out, is BTC creates new value between 90k and 100k, right? That's the TLD, or value is just levels at which the market agrees that the asset is fairly priced. The last time we saw major value created on BTC was between March and, let's say, late October, where the market had roughly agreed that BTC was fairly priced between 60 and 70k. That was pretty much where the value was created. And then we saw BTC moving to what is potentially now going to be new value, right? This move here, BTC was seen as undervalued, right? For a variety of reasons: pro-crypto president, sailor buying, post-halving chop coming to an end, consolidation leading to expansion. There are a variety of fundamental and technical reasons, but we did break out to the upside. Buyers were more willing to engage with price than sellers because the perception in the market was that the asset was undervalued. It was cheap, therefore price more willing to go higher. We've kind of seen the first major pullback in that move here, and it just looks a little bit similar to the pullback we got here. Now, I'm not saying that we're going to range for the next 6 months. At that point, I think there's quite a high likelihood that a lot of the guys that put money into BTC at the lows start realizing profits and rotate that money potentially into alts, right? What do we need to see for that to happen? First chart you need to look at is BTC dominance. Firstly, I should qualify that BTC dominance is just a measure of how dominant Bitcoin is in the total crypto market cap. It's represented by a percentage. If you look at this chart on high time frame, it's just been up only for the last over 2 years, right? Which coincides with BTC ripping and overperforming majority of the altcoin market. But if you look back even further, you'll see that previous alt seasons, this was the 2020-2021 alt season, and this was the 2017 alt season. Previous alt seasons have shown up in the BTC dominance chart as a very sharp drop in dominance. The market share in altcoins increases drastically, and the market share in BTC as a percentage of the total crypto market cap drops. So then, talking about money rotating into alts, we look at a chart like Total 3, which is the total crypto market cap minus BTC and minus ETH, basically the altcoin market cap. We had a huge spike on that in 2017, 2018, right? Coincided with the alt season we got back then. We had a huge spike in 2021, 2020, coinciding with the alt season we saw then. And so far, I mean, we've had a really nice move up since October of last year. We still haven't put in new highs on this chart. And I do think that that's kind of where you need to be looking for quote unquote alt season, is for Total 3 to put in new highs and do something like this before cooling off again, right? That would be a situation I could really see when it comes to alts. And we're not too far away from it. We're basically only like a 20% move from price discovery, which is kind of crazy. But if Total 3 moves up here, what you will more than likely see in the Bitcoin dominance chart is an end to this brutal up move. Brutal if you're an alt maxi. And we'll probably see dominance come down something like this. Now, do I think that dominance goes back down to, 30, 40%? Maybe not, because I think the ETFs have fundamentally changed the crypto landscape for better or for worse. And I think that dominance on BTC now is going to look very different to what it has looked like in the past, to the extent that I'm not sure do we ever revisit these lows, at least not as things stand. We've seen a mini alt season in the last couple of weeks, and that was just a 5% pullback. Imagine like a 15, 20, 25% pullback. That would put us around the 50% level. Something like that would really give alts a chance to shine. Maybe not to the levels that we saw in the last 2 alt seasons, but certainly a kind of a 10, 15, 20, 25% drop from here, right? And the more it drops, the more of an indication you have that altcoins are getting their rotation. Another chart that's important to look at is ETHBTC, comparative strength of Ethereum against Bitcoin. And much like BTC dominance, this is a good visual representation of where the money is currently in the market. More money in BTC, then usually BTC will be outperforming ETH. ETHBTC chart will be dropping. If you have more money rotating into ETH is outperforming, then ETHBTC will be bottoming. Now, this chart is just hilarious to me because we've been in a steady downtrend coinciding with that BTC dominance uptrend for like 3 years. If we see a proper rotation here and a proper pullback on BTC dominance, you'll also see ETHBTC be forming at least a temporary bottom and a little bit of a pop. That would coincide with our total 3 chart putting in a new high and our BTC Dominance chart pulling back. And then the last chart I want to look at is others. This is the crypto market cap outside the top 10 altcoins. This chart is just insanely bullish looking. It's pretty similar to the total 3 chart. We have pushes up to coincide with the last 2 alt seasons, but this one is even further away, 45% from price discovery. Just a really, really good looking chart. We haven't even put in like a new high on others. So in one sense, we're still early. I don't think that we're closer to the start of the bull run than we are to the end, but I do think as far as alts are concerned, the best is yet to come, and I think charts like this demonstrate that, or at least indicate it. Think about how wild things will get if we get this kind of a move. Then maybe we nuke, right? That's not far-fetched. That's not crazy to think, right? And that would mean that altcoins would absolutely send. That would coincide nicely with Total 3 putting in new highs, ETHBTC finding a local bottom, and of course with BTC Dominance pulling back. Lastly then, to finish up this conversation, to go back to Bitcoin, do I necessarily think that we range here for the rest of the cycle? No. I actually think there's a very good chance that we just continue to push higher. I shared this chart on Twitter. It's obviously a little bit of hopium, but we did see a market pullback last Thanksgiving. There was like a 17% pullback. I wasn't trading back then, but speaking to guys that were, people were like, oh, okay, cycle top is in, BTC won't go higher. What followed after that was a 300% rally. We could be in for something similar this time around, right? We saw this pullback and guys are getting super bearish, saying the cycle top is in, time to take profits. And then the next pump catches people off guard. Now, I'm not saying that we go to 250K. This is just for illustrative purposes. But I would not be surprised to see that the top is not in on BTC and for us just to continue higher. In a scenario where BTC doesn't even range, but just continues higher, and BTC Dominance drops, and Total 3 goes for the highs, and others goes for the highs, and ETHBTC finds a bottom, right? So there's a lot of conditionals there. In that scenario, your alt bags won't be doing 2x, 3x, right? Many of the strongest alts will 10x, 20x. And I know that sounds kind of like a bull-tired thing to say, but it's true. Look at last cycle and how wild things got. There's no reason to think that the same can't happen this time. I appreciate the market environment is a little bit different now. There's a supply issue with altcoins. The ETFs have changed the landscape when it comes to how BTC and alts relate to each other, but I still think the fundamentals are roughly the same. Strong alts will continue to dominate. Alts with strong communities, meme coins with strong communities will continue to attract new money and existing money through rotations and new capital coming into the market. That's no different from how things have played out in previous cycles. I have no reason to think that they'll be any different this cycle. The summary of all that is it's a very exciting time to be in altcoins now, because I think there's a very, very good chance that they will fly in the coming months, and there's a very, very good chance that the best is yet to come.